On the morning of November 19th, 1978, a US Army team flew over a remote clearing in the jungles of Guyana. What they found on the ground had no precedent in American history. 909 people, lying in rows, arms around each other. Many of them children, all dead, not from a war, not from a disease, not from a natural disaster, from a man named Jim Jones, who had spent 20 years convincing nearly 1,000 people that he was a god. And when the outside world finally came looking, he made sure no one would ever leave. Jim Jones was born in 1931 in rural Indiana. He grew up poor, largely ignored, and obsessed from childhood with death, religion, and power. He ordained himself a Christian minister in his 20s and opened his first People's Temple Church in Indianapolis in the mid-1950s. In an era of rigid segregation, Jones preached racial integration. He ran free meals, drug rehabilitation programs, legal aid. He delivered votes for politicians, donated to charities. He made himself indispensable. By the early 1970s, People's Temple had moved to San Francisco. Jones claimed 20,000 members. He had the ear of city officials. He was celebrated as a progressive visionary. One behind closed doors, former members described something else entirely. Beatings, confiscated belongings, forced surrenders of property, bank accounts, even custody of children. Staged faith healings, fake cancer cures performed in front of weeping congregations. Members were required to call him Father. He traveled with bodyguards. He wore dark sunglasses indoors. He compared himself to Jesus Christ and Vladimir Lenin, often in the same sentence. In 1974, Jones sent a small group of followers to Guyana, the only English-speaking country in South America, to carve an agricultural cooperative out of the jungle. He called it Jonestown. He sold it as a paradise, a socialist utopia free from American racism, free from government persecution, free from the outside world. In 1977, under mounting media pressure and investigations in California, Jones moved himself and more than 1,000 followers to the jungle permanently. What waited for them was not a utopia. Members worked brutal hours in jungle heat. Passports were confiscated. Medications were taken away. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter. Letters were censored. Phone calls were monitored. Informants reported any whisper of dissent back to Jones. Jones held court from a throne in the main pavilion, and in the middle of the night, without warning, he would sound an alarm. He called them White Knights. Everyone would assemble. Jones would announce that enemies were coming, that there was only one way out. Then he would order his followers to drink. He did this over and over. Practice runs, loyalty tests. The people who had given up everything, their homes, their savings, their families, their passports, would drink without question. Every single time. In 1977, US Congressman Leo Ryan of California began receiving reports from families whose relatives were trapped in Jonestown. People writing letters they were not allowed to send. Children whose grandparents couldn't reach them. Ryan was known as a tenacious investigator. He once went undercover inside Folsom Prison to expose conditions there. He decided to go to Jonestown himself. On November 17th, 1978, Ryan arrived at the compound with a delegation. News reporters, photographers, and relatives of temple members. The first night seemed almost normal. There was a dinner, there was entertainment. But the next morning, Temple members began quietly slipping notes to Ryan's delegation. But the next morning, Temple members began quietly slipping notes to Ryan's delegation. Notes that said, "Get us out." 14 members asked to leave with Ryan. On the morning of November 18th, Ryan's group, along with the 14 defectors, headed for the jungle airstrip 5 miles away. They were loading onto 2 planes when a truck pulled up. Jones's men stepped out. 3. They opened fire. Leo Ryan was killed. A reporter, a cameraman, a photographer, and one of the Temple members trying to escape were killed with him. It was the first, and still the only, assassination of a sitting US congressman in American history. Back in Jonestown, Jim Jones called his followers to the pavilion. He told them soldiers were coming, that they would be tortured, that their children would be taken, that there was no way out. He had already prepared the drink. Cyanide mixed with sedatives and powdered fruit punch, tested and confirmed lethal within minutes. Nurses used syringes to administer it to the youngest children first. Then the adults lined up. Armed guards stood at the edges of the pavilion. A tape recorder ran the entire time. On what investigators would later call the death tape, you can hear Jim Jones speaking over the sounds of people dying around him. "Don't be afraid to die," he told them. "This is a revolutionary act." 909 people died that night. A third of them were children. 33 survived. Jim Jones was found dead in a chair with a single gunshot wound to the head. The phrase "drinking the Kool-Aid" entered the American vocabulary as shorthand for blind obedience. Most people who use it have never heard the death tape. Jim Jones didn't take his followers to Guyana at gunpoint. He took them with a promise that the world could be made fair, that people who had been ignored could matter, that a community built on justice was possible. He built that belief over 20 years, carefully, methodically, one family at a time. By the time anyone came looking for the people inside, it was already too late.